Okay, guys, it is the 31st of May 2022, and we're looking at GBP USD on the daily time frame. Now, what I can see is a clear break of structure. Now, that means that we've had a change of character in a way, because it's the first point at which the supply has been broken. Therefore, we should be shifting into demand now, meaning we are now officially in a daily bullish trend. Dropping down to the 4-hour, what can we see? Well, we can see that there's many points of demand to look at here. So we're gonna initially start off by refining it, and we shall see where there's potential entries. So I see this is a clear demand area on the 4-hour. That's because there's this demand, which formed this demand, which formed this demand. And I believe this is liquidity down here, but we'll have to check that on a lower time frame. Okay. So now we can also see that there was a high formed over here, which hasn't been broken. And so we can also call that liquidity on the top. So dropping down onto the 15-minute time frame, what can we see? We can confirm that there is liquidity down here. So price could be heading down for a bit. However, on the 15-minute, we've also broken key points of structure. Therefore, 15-minute, we could potentially be bearish, and we have liquidity down here. Mark that as liquidity. Just clear this for now. Okay, so what am I looking out for in the market? So I'm going to just refine this area of liquidity. Okay, so I'm looking out for potential sells from this area, and I'm looking for, if that fails, then I'll look for potential buys from demand points over here. But at the moment, it looks like we've broken 15-minute structure points, so we could consider this to be 15-minute change of character, meaning short-term sells, but obviously on the demand of the daily, we are very, very bullish, as we can see characterized by this daily change of character. Therefore, longer term, we do want to be looking for buys. But that could mean that we need to wait for price to come down to this area. Now, whether it's this sort of order block we're going to react off of, or sort of order block, we're not too sure. What we do know is that imbalances need to get filled. So there's a key imbalance here, which may get filled. So let's remove these zones for now, as price is quite far away from this area. Now, looking at this area, we could potentially be looking for buys up till this area. So let's drop to the 1-minute time frame and let's see what's happening. So I have seen liquidity form over here, potential sweep in a way. That's a sweep of liquidity. It was actually this demand area, which would have been perfect for price to grab and then break through, but that wasn't the case. Going back to our 15-minute, just to cross-check, we haven't seen just yet any 15-minute change of character. So potentially there's something in this sort of wick, and And again, I still think we can come back down because we haven't seen any key changes of character. Yes, it's a very, very minor change of character over here. However, it's not a body closure, so I wouldn't consider it to be such. I would cross-check that. And what I can see is what I can see in the 1 minute is this. We've had this kind of area formed, and then we formed demand over here that formed some sort, so that broke structure, formed a new demand which broke structure over here. And then we formed this demand, untested, but we've also formed this demand, which has reacted there. And it's actually had liquidity, so we can actually move the demand zone a bit. So that's an inducement. That's the move taking out this low, forming a much more major break-in structure. And then from this area, we formed this demand. This supply has been taken out. Inducement there. However, the supply has also been taken out, so we're kind of back in this area. Should we see this demand over here fail, then we can, so I want to see a break below this demand to see demand fail, maybe even a break below this demand. And then I want to see price get up to this level. And we could potentially be looking at some shorts, 2.5 pips, target at liquidity, clean trade. Potentially we could be looking to fill this imbalance. So I'd put my stop around this level. So about a 5-to-1 risk to reward. Again, cross-checking with the 15-minute. What I'm going to do is clear analysis and double check the analysis. So we've had this demand form, was this push up on the 15-minute, which broke structure. And then we've had this liquidity get swept, came back up, reacted off of supply. However, that supply, initially, yes, it did break structure. So again, with that liquidity sweep, but this one didn't. And then we reacted over here off this demand, which broke this structure over here. Also this structure over here. So then after breaking that structure, we kind of ranged, came down, took out this kind of area of demand over here, which would have been looking along the lines of this. So demand was completely taken out. We could argue supply is now in control, whether it's here or here. However, I don't want to be looking for sells from that zone in particular. I'd rather look at this wick as an area of demand to this area of demand. Yes, I am removing the top wick just because it coincides. And then going down onto the 1 minute, I want to see what we're forming, potentially this demand as an area to buy off of, this demand as an area to buy off of, liquidity over here, which was swept. There's no impulsive move at the moment, except for, I guess you could call this move upwards sort of impulsive. It didn't cause a body closure of this high. Therefore, there is an element of liquidity there, however, not enough. So what I'm going to say is that I want to see this liquidity get taken out to get to this area. And even this area would be a valid point of demand. So I'd prefer to enter off of this or this area due to the imbalance here, which I'll also mark up. But that's kind of my overview on GBP/USD. I don't want to be looking for sellers at the moment. Yes, we have this supply zone, and potentially if we get to there and then we reject and we cause a supply break of structure, then I'd look to enter off of the confirmation entry. So I wouldn't take a risk entry on this one. I would take a confirmation entry. It could be that price is trying to fill this imbalance over here. So we'll see. Essentially, it's a case of whatever zone gets reached first and reacting off of the reaction rather than taking any initial trades. So yes, you could argue that this is all like some sort of break of structure, but essentially there's liquidity over there. And yes, you can argue that this is a potential place to enter, but personally, it's not the cleanest of entries for me. So I'd stay out until something cleaner turns up on the chart for me. You could say that this zone has already been reacted from, and it's a case of just moving up now, breaking that supply, and the move has already started upwards. But my favored move is shorts from this zone. So what I will do is I will send in this chart. So daily. So I will send in this chart. Our chart will also get sent in. As well as the 15-minute. On the 15-minute, we can kind of clear this up a bit. Send it in. And there you have it. Dropping down into 1 minute again, what can we see has formed in that meantime? It looks like we're going to break through this area of demand, potentially get to these areas. What I'll probably do is a potential risk entry. I have to see. That's not a clear zone at all. If we look over here, it's a bit clearer. That would be a 3.88 risk to reward. This is probably the cleanest trade. Yeah, this will give you a 6.6 risk to reward. So ideally, we want to enter off of the extreme. However, like I said, we could have already started with that demand reaction. Could be moving off now because of that break of structure. We'll have to see. Only time can tell. That pretty much concludes our call for today. There isn't much else to look out for. Euro-US dollar is looking very range bound. Again, I'd need to see either this 15-minute high or this 15-minute low get taken out for me to have any bias right now. Right now, we're just looking at a range. Yeah, I believe liquidity was just formed, or maybe potentially a liquidity sweep. Yeah, I believe there was a liquidity sweep just now. So could mean something. Drop it down to 1 minute. Positive move, not enough to break key structure. So reacting off of supply over here. Reacting off of supply here. Potential supply failure. Potential buys. That area could be valid, but again, nothing clear as day to enter on. So we'd have to wait and see. Thank you for joining the call today. I'll see you guys next time.